A special Olympian is at the center of a homicide investigation. He was killed at a place entrusted with his care. In a story you'll see only on 13 Action News, Contact 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears exposes negligence and violence at a state-run home for the mentally disabled.
When 9-year-old Carolyn Montes talks about her uncle,
my uncle Julio,
she can't help but smile.
I would win on tag, he would win on hide and go seek.
No stranger to winning, Julio, a multi-sport Special Olympian, made it all the way to the World Summer Games in Dublin, Ireland.
He came home with like three gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze.
Julio was born with a brain defect that left him with the mental capacity of a 10-year-old.
He'll hug you, you're my best friend. That's what he always tells everybody.
To Kimberly and Carolyn,
my blanket that he gave me,
he was the most special member of their family.
Whenever he puts on a suit, he goes ask his mom and say, "I look handsome," and I start laughing.
But there will be no new memories to laugh about and no more Special Olympics medals to celebrate. Instead, tears for the uncle they loved and lost.
But my brother's not. He's not here. He's not going to be able to see them grow up.
Soon after his 33rd birthday, Julio went into the hospital.
Because he had bruises all over his chest, his ribs, his face. It was just his side of his head.
His family didn't know what happened, why, or how it could have occurred with Julio in the care of Desert Regional Center. He'd been living for 4 years at the taxpayer-funded state-run home for the mentally disabled.
You know, this is a place where, you got a family member that needs help.
According to state records, on the way back from a Special Olympics bowling competition on November 22nd, Julio got into a fight in the group home's van with another patient. Julio was repeatedly kicked and punched in the chest, face, and head. That night, the impression of a shoe print was clearly visible on his chest. Julio had a shunt in his brain and a blood disorder, putting him at a higher risk for clots. He was having episodes of nausea and vomiting after the fight, and his skin was reddening. Despite knowing all that, state records show nursing staff did not contact a supervisor or a doctor, didn't consider the event serious, and didn't monitor him overnight. The next day, he was unresponsive and taken to the hospital where doctors found bleeding on the brain. After weeks in a coma and multiple surgeries, they decided to end life support on December 4th.
The doctor said that he was brain dead, so that was the last time I ever saw him.
What's startling here is how many ways the state says DRC staff failed Julio. Staff in the van failed to stop the fight. Nursing staff failed to notice how serious his condition was. A tech who found him lying on the floor in the middle of the night failed to notify a nurse, and an internal memo shows his bed check form was falsified.
The coroner says Julio died from blunt force injury of the head, a homicide. Metro's Abuse Neglect section is reviewing the case, which will be submitted to the district attorney. No one from Desert Regional Center would talk on camera. State records show one employee was transferred to a department that doesn't work directly with patients, and 2 nurses were reported to the state board for suspected malpractice. As for the family, tears continue to flow and questions remain, but one thing is for sure.
Whatever just happened to my little brother, they should be accountable for it. The state should be accountable for it.
Contact 13 examined hundreds of records showing Desert Regional Center has been in trouble with the state multiple times for abuse and neglect. In a special web-only extra, we'll show you what other problems have been documented at the state-run facility, as well as more stunning details from Julio's case. Darcy Spears, 13 Action News.